Hello, thank you for joining us today on Noggers Network. Today we will be teaching our audience and viewers how to make homemade Noggers Bread. This video cannot be copied or reproduced without the written consent of Noggers Network. From Aspinwall, Pennsylvania, it's Noggers!
Hi! Thanks, Lizzie. There's Lizzie Brown behind the scenes and my personal assistant measuring all of these things out for me today. Nothing like starting out with a little mimosa this morning. There are a lot of different recipes for this bread that has been handed down from generation to generation and called many different things. As you can see, about 6 or 7 different recipes. Okay, so starting out this morning, what you're going to first need is to have your house at about 72 degrees, which might be tough for some people. Anywho, so first thing I like to use is a mixer with a kneader. You don't have to have that, but it sure makes the job a lot quicker and easier. So this recipe I cut in half in order for my mixer to be able to mix without everything coming out like a juicer with kale. So, all right, first things first. First thing we're going to do is, and there's already water in here, you measure out 3 1/4 cups of lukewarm water. That's really important. Lukewarm, not hot, not cold, because your yeast has to rise, and it can't rise if it's too cold. So this is what I use. You get 2 1/4 teaspoons of this quick rise yeast. You add that into the lukewarm water, and then you add 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. You pour that in here, and then you're going to let this sit for 5 minutes until the yeast starts to bubble. If it doesn't, then there might be a problem with the yeast. You got to go back out to the store and get some more. All right. So for time purposes and speeding this up, 5 minutes has already elapsed, okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to take a 1/2 pound of flour, a 1/2 bag of this unbleached all-purpose flour. I take this handy dandy contraption here, and I measure it out this way, and I get 2 1/2 pounds. Okay, I'm going to put this in, 2 1/2 pounds into this pan, and then I start working the mixer. Start adding it in. I usually kind of pour it in gradually, then just get it all in there, okay? Then what I'm going to do after that, start gradually getting that in, then I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of salt. 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm going to add that in there, and then start mixing it. All right, now I'm going to need just 1 cup, and this is whole wheat flour. Whole wheat flour, just 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I'm going to add that in, and then the all-important, most secret part of this recipe comes from this, boys and girls, right here. Bacon. I know it sounds horrible, but when you think about it, you've got 3 1/2 cups. You have about 8 1/2 cups probably total flour in this pan, and then you're only going to use 1.5 tablespoons of bacon grease. Not going to kill you, not going to hurt you. Throw it in there because it's going to make the difference between this and every other bread you're going to make. So I'm going to pour that in there. We're going to get this going. In the meantime, I've greased this bowl with Crisco. Okay? Grease that bowl with Crisco so when the bread gets in here, it starts to rise. It doesn't stick to the pan. All right, so I'm going to get this all mixed in here. Don't overmix, but you got to make sure that it is all mixed together. I'm going to take this. I'm going to pull this dough. Look at this beautiful dough right here. Unbelievable. It's perfect. It should be nice and warm. You don't want to overmix it or it'll start to get gooey, gummy. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this right into the pan. Right into the bowl, excuse me. Get that in there, and then I'm going to kind of pack it down a little bit now. this is where it also becomes very important for this to stay warm. This has to be nice and warm in order for it to rise. We're going to cover this up with tea cloths, whatever you can do. Keep it in a nice dark place, warm. My oven happens to have a warm proof, which keeps it, not cooks it, just keeps it nice and warm. I'm going to toss that in here. If it could fit. Okay, so it's in there. All right, so it's in there. That's going to be in there for 2 hours. 2 hours. I know that seems like a long time. And then we're going to pull this out. Oh, forgot about my mimosa. I'm going to pull this out after 2 hours. It should, by this time, have doubled in size from when you originally put it in here. Now you're going to knead this. You're going to pack it down. You're going to... All right, you're going to knead it. You're going to get all the bubbles out. And you're going to get it back to the original size that it was. Then you're going to, one more time, in this bowl, we're going to cover it up. We're going to get it in the oven, in the warm proof. You don't have an oven that warm proofs, then you're going to just find a nice dark room. Make sure the dogs don't get it. And then cover it up. Make sure there's no drafts. Nice and quiet. Then we're going to pull that back out after an hour. Okay, so total of 3 hours that we've done for the rising of the bread. Gosh, that's a good mimosa. Thanks, Lizzie Brown, for that mimosa. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this, and we are going to we're going to divide this into 3 loaves. 3 loaves. Doesn't matter. As much as you can, try to have it even. You're going to kind of knead this around, and you're going to make it into a nice, pretty little loaf. Okay? You're going to get that nice and packed in, nice and smooth if you can. And then what we're going to do is, this pan has already been greased up with the Crisco. This is going to be one of your best friends here by the end of this show. Smack that in there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to get a fork, and we're going to just gently, 3 times, we're going to just gently put that fork in there so that the bread doesn't, it lets the steam out a little bit. All right, now, do not, excuse me, sorry, I'm popular. Do not preheat the oven. This is really important. Do not preheat the oven. I've got it here. I'm going to now, right now, as I'm putting this in, I am going to start 350 degrees. And I'm going to put this in here, okay? Nice, gently. I'm going to put all 3 loaves in there. 350 degrees, okay? I know it seems odd. No preheating. I'm going to really watch this because it's going to be different every time as far as the length of time that you're going to cook it. I'm going to say about 50, that's 50 minutes. Check it. Keep that door closed. And then at about 50 minutes, check on that. And it should come out like this. Always, however, ouch! Use an oven mitt. Don't just pull it out with your bare hands. Okay, then, next really, sorry about my hat. Next really important thing is when you pull this out of the oven, you get yourself a little tray here, okay? And then what you're gonna do, again, be very careful. You're gonna pull this out, good, and then you're gonna put this on the cooling rack, just like this. And you're going to keep that cool. Don't wrap it up. Keep this for even a couple of hours. You do not want it to cook more. You don't want it to steam and get gooey. And that's what it should look like. And then what you're going to have is a nice loaf of bread that's going to come out like this. Great for toasting. If you cook it a little longer, you have different ways that you can make this. You can put some tomato sauce. You can make pizzas with it. Thanks so much for joining us. let me just say a special thank you to Lizzie Brown. Thank you so much, Lizzie, for everything. Couldn't do this show without her. Thanks a million. Let's get that music. Let's enjoy some bread, Lizzie, and some mimosas.